The following is brought to you in partnership by Symbol. Symbol is a new sports marketplace where you can trade shares of professional teams like stocks. You love sports. You interested in fantasy sports without the weekly annoyance of fantasy league upkeep? Then Symbol's the app for you. With Symbol, fantasy sports is going to a whole other level. How it works is simple. You buy Symbol shares for your favorite sim teams on the app. When your sim team wins, you get automatic cash deposits, and you don't lose any money when they lose. That's it. So if you follow trends across football, basketball, hockey, and coming soon baseball, and you think your team is a sleeper, simply invest in your favorite sim teams on Symbol and watch your virtual portfolio prove you right or wrong. And if you want to get in on the action right away, Vendetta Sports Media's got you covered. Go to symbol.app/Vendetta and use our exclusive promo code Vendetta, and you'll get a $10 bonus when making your first deposit. Symbol, taking fantasy sports to a whole other level. What's going on, Tanimals? It's I, the host of the fourth best podcast in an entire company of 4 podcasts, hosted by your fifth-rate hack host, Brian Tan. And with me, as always, the sidekick to my hackiness, Jackson Law. J Law, how the hell are you?
I'm great, man. Just on the slow grind,
No, I hear you. Well, you know what? There's a big reason to get excited. We have a new partnership deal that literally has Vendetta Sports Media abuzz here in the shall we say, in the private virtual offices of Vendetta Co., found on the Vendetta Island, next door neighbors to the Legion of Doom. And that is, of course, if you guys heard the bumper at the very, very top, we are now in a partnership deal with, I would say, I don't know, would you say fantasy sports / gambling?
It's
Symbol.
It's like not even that. Like Symbol
like
is
sports stock.
It's different.
Sports stock.
Yeah, it's sports stock. There's no other way to really describe it.
Yeah. And as you guys heard at the very, very top, this is now all you have to do if you want to get down with it, if you want to get down with Symbol, as well as get an extra $10 on your very first deposit, go to symbol.app/Vendetta, SIMBULL.app/Vendetta. And when you take that route, when you go to make your first deposit in with Symbol, you'll get an extra $10 deposit. I did this myself, Jackson Law, and it works. It absolutely works.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I put in $20 and I had $30 in my portfolio.
I put in $10 and got $10 in my portfolio. And you know what? You don't have to worry about Symbol pulling a Robin Hood and making it so that you can't buy particular teams either. Now, you can't do MLB yet, but it's coming. And when MLB...
I think they said like this Sunday, maybe. I think it's actually coming up really soon.
And if that's the
Don't quote me on that.
Right. And if that's the case, then I'll probably put another $20 in or something just to get like a major, like, I know I'm not going to get the Yankees or the Dodgers or anyone like that. Maybe I'll get like a middling team, but here's the thing. This is the way Symbol works. And we're not going to take too much time on this, but I definitely wanted to bring this up. So here's the thing. Every single team in football, basketball, and hockey right now, the teams have a price tag on them, what they're worth. Matter of fact, I'm going to the site right now. I'm pulling it up right now. Symbol.app. And I'm looking at the teams. I have no, matter of fact, you know what, J Law? I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see what I'm doing. This is the first time we've done this on this show.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So I guess I'll pull it down here. You see it? You see it? You good? You see what I'm putting?
It's switched to our notes.
Oh no. That's not what I wanted. It was right the first time. What an idiot. All right. So as you can see, I have no NBA team. I have no MLB team. I do have an NFL team. I picked the Sim Jets. Why? Because the Sim Jets, I believe they have the number 2 overall pick in the NFL draft. And they have a brand new head coach, all new coaching staff. It looks like they actually have a coach that has a brain in his skull. So, but they're still not all that great of a team. They're not as big of a name right now as, say, no one's as excited about the Jets as they are, say, the Jaguars. So I bought 1 share of the New York Jets for $18. Now, the way it works is this, guys. And there's, oh, wow, I made 3 cents. Woo! It's awesome. So here we have it right here. Right now it's NBA, NFL, MLB coming soon. So let's look at the NFL. So as you can see here, and let me see if I can increase some size so you guys can see.
Bengals actually went up today.
All right. That's too big. That's what she said. Anyway. All right. So when you see the Sim 49ers here, the 49ers are worth $36. So what you would do if you're joining Symbol and you want to use the Vendetta Sports Media promo code, symbol.app/Vendetta, you would deposit $30 and then you would take that $10 credit from showing up through Vendetta. You would have $40. And then you could buy 1 share in the Sim 49ers. Look down here at the Jaguars. They're worth $22. They went 1-15 last year, but their stock is worth $22. As your team wins, you make money. Simple as that.
Yeah. And the market is completely driven as it should be, not like what Robinhood and everyone else, the big scandals that have been going on Wall Street the past couple of weeks. It's completely driven by the users and the people. So the reason why you have like the Jaguars, even though they were 1-15, the reason why their stock is as high as it is because it is a combination of faith in people that are buying it at a low price that they're going to get Trevor Lawrence. They have Urban Meyer as their head coach. They have 11 picks in this draft. They have over $70 million in cap space. It's all based on the fact that you think that they will get good.
Yep.
And if they're winning games, then you get a small payout from it. So like with the NFL, it's 50 cents a win. The NBA is 10 cents a win. And when the MLB rolls around, I believe it's 5 cents a win. Right. So as a team is performing well, then you get paid out. And the more shares that you own in a team, then your win payout is higher. So if you have 4 shares in, let's say, the Broncos, and the Broncos win a game, you get 50 cents per share. You won $2 on that game. Right. But that's just how much your portfolio has gone up, because also the more that they win, then the price of your stock goes up. Exactly. Because they're a much better team, and people are like, this team is good, I want to hop on this bandwagon. So they're going to start buying the stock, and that's going to drive the price up, just as stocks do in real life.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is you don't lose money if your team loses, Jackson Law. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. Yeah, so it's a big deal. We're very excited about it. I hate fantasy sports. I hate doing fantasy sports because I don't want to have to upkeep and bench people and blah, blah, blah. I like the league. I don't like playing the league. Okay? I don't like doing it. And you pick your team and then you go and you just enjoy your football game. So now I'll be watching the Steelers games and for pleasure, and Jet games to see how my portfolio is doing, Jackson Law.
Yeah, and it's not just that, but if you're a big sports gambler, betting on sports, you could hit on 60-70% of your bets, but your bets that you're going to win on aren't going to make up for your losses. Also, you're probably going to break even if you're hitting around like that margin, because that's what I've always done. I've barely broken even, and by barely broken even, I mean I did have a good stretch where I was green like a couple $100, but then it's like then I hit a dry spell where I'm super down and I lose pretty much all that money that I earned. And it's because maybe there's one instance where it's like, let's take the Lakers, for instance. Like the Lakers are still probably the title favorites. Their stock is really high here, and there's a reason for that. But if you're betting on Lakers games, you're probably taking a hit when they lost Anthony Davis and before Dennis Schroeder came back, and they went on that 4-game losing streak until Schroeder came back, and then they blew out the Warriors.
Right.
So instead of betting on individual games, you can bet on basically the rebuild. So like my Memphis Grizzlies are in the middle of a rebuild. I bought one share in the Memphis Grizzlies. It's not too terribly. Of course I did. I'm a homer. I have to do that. But they're a young rebuilding team. So take really any team. I can hang on to that stock for like 3-5 years.
Yep.
And let's say in 5 years, let's say my dreams come true and they win a championship. How much is that stock going to be worth? It's going to be worth quite a bit if they're winning a championship, and I'm getting individual payouts along the way as the seasons go on.
And
so that's how you make money.
And you are not.
Yeah, and I'm not going to lose a
dime. So definitely give it a try. Symbol.app/Vendetta. Matter of fact, do me a favor, 12 rounds, do a timestamp on this, because I am actually going to do a little bit of extra production, and it's going to be right down here on the bottom of your screen. Symbol.app/Vendetta. And if you're listening to this on the just the audio version, don't worry, it's in the description. All right, with that being said, we're very excited about this. Let's get on to a little bit of let's get into some sports talk.
Some juicy drama.
Some juicy drama. I mean, juicy like a fat steak. LeBron James was told by AC Milan forward Zoltan. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm going to try Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I don't know. That sounds
Gesundheit.
Don't shame. So the AC Milan forward reaffirmed his beliefs that Jackson Law athletes should just stick to sports, and he aimed these comments at LeBron. Now he was interviewed. Zoltan was interviewed in Sweden by for the UEFA for Discovery Plus, and he said, "quote He, meaning LeBron, is phenomenal at what he's doing, but I don't like when people have some kind of status. They go and do politics at the same time. Do what you're good at. Do the category you do. I play football because I'm the best at playing football." End quote. Now, LeBron James clapped back at him, J-Law. He said, quote, he is, quote, from a very educated mind. So I'm kind of the wrong guy to actually go at because I do my homework, end quote. Now, I don't know who Ibrahimovic is. I don't know European football at all. But J-Law, this sounds an awful like this guy is mirroring the words of Laura Ingraham trying to tell LeBron James to, quote, shut up and dribble.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, everything just kind of like froze for a second, so I was waiting. So, but it seems we're back and we're good. Yeah, I mean, it does definitely sound like that, and I've read the full quotes because he was re-interviewed again. I'm just gonna call him Zoltan now because now that's stuck
Zoltan.
in my head. But yeah, I mean, it does kind of sound like that, and he's entitled to his opinion if that's what he wants to do. If he doesn't want to get mixed in with politics and everything, then that's fine. If he just wants to ball, then great, then do just ball. If that's what LeBron wanted to do, because that's what MJ pretty much did. MJ just wanted to ball, and that MJ had every right to just go out there and ball just as much as LeBron has every right to where he sees himself that he has this platform and he's going to use it. Absolutely. And I thought I did think it was kind of funny though. And I've made fun of LeBron in the past for this quote, because he's like, he said I'm a guy that does my homework, but I'm pretty sure that the quote back during the Hong Kong incident, when Daryl Morey was tweeting about that, he's like, I haven't done my homework about that. So I thought that was kind of funny, but no, I mean, I think I understand, LeBron defending himself on that aspect. I understand Zoltan, saying what he said, because Zoltan in his second interview, he does say that you have all these rich people that, are trying to get into politics and tell other people what to do. And it's like, I get that too. Because, you see people like in Hollywood, like Gwyneth Paltrow, she's talking about how terrible, how hard her life is, how sometimes she just wishes that she was a normal person, because but she makes millions of dollars doing what she does.
Not
Because
only that,
I would gladly.
Gwyneth Paltrow also gets paid to make candles that smell like her vagina. So
Yeah, I know. Like,
she don't get to talk about life being hard.
I will gladly make out with Robert Downey Jr. for a quarter of what she makes. Okay, like, let's just keep it real.
Yeah. Hey, for a quarter of what she makes, I'd make out with Jack Black. I mean, come on. At least Robert Downey Jr., it's like, hey, man, it's freaking Iron Man. Yeah. Jack Black is just Tenacious D.
Yeah, so like, I get it where he's probably seeing like all these other like big time celebrities that are completely out of touch with average people that are speaking on things that they don't go through in everyday life, and that even if they once understood it, they've been in Hollywood for 30, 40 years. So they're just out of touch with normal people. So I get where he's saying about that. But, at the same time, there are people that are actively like in the streets, like someone like Jaylen Brown, that's very active and is on the ground. Jaylen Brown, guard for the Boston Celtics, is very on the ground, very active, as are a lot of other guys that, they're quietly on the ground. There's a lot of
WNBA, who the women of the WNBA are practically responsible for John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock being elected into the Senate in Georgia. Because of their activism.
That's their entire prerogative. Whatever they want to do, however they want to use their platform and do it, that's fine. Of course, you're going to tick people off, but it's not because you're using your platform. It's because you're using your platform for the other side.
Right.
If someone else was using the platform, like let's, if I had an athlete, like a favorite athlete that I knew, and he said something that you went against, chances are that you're going to be like, I don't like that guy anymore, shut up, whatever. But if it was the other way around, I'd probably be, saying something like that. And that's just the way it goes. It's not necessarily because they're using their platform. It's because they're using their platform for something that you don't like. And I mean, you can hate them all you want for saying the things that they say, obviously, not like aggressively hate, but just like disagreement, stuff like that.
I hear you.
But at the same time, they have every right to use the platform. LeBron's got his right. Zoltan's got his right to use his platform. So,
here's what I say to that. We're in a climate, and I know it's always been this way. Well, I can say I know it's always been this way, because I'm like old. But the one thing that I'll say is this: in our time right now, everybody is so hung up on their own self-importance. You know what I mean? Everyone feels like, well, what I think and blah, blah, blah. And like, look, here's the thing. Oh, and if you say something, if you clap back at someone, oh, don't violate my First Amendment rights. Not the way the First Amendment works, people. I'm gonna get on a mini soapbox on this topic, because there is one more NBA story that we need to get to before we get to our first break. But I will say this: somebody saying something you don't like, it doesn't mean that they're not entitled to say it. And it doesn't mean that they're not entitled to the clapback that you give them. So Zoltan can absolutely feel the way he feels. Absolutely. And LeBron can say exactly what he wants to say. Absolutely. Or if you want to be like Michael Jordan and not say anything, then you know what? That's cool. But you still have to deal with the blowback that comes from the community that you are a part of. Michael Jordan to this day still gets a ton of heat for not speaking up for issues in the Black community. And that's the one thing that I will say that LeBron James does that Michael Jordan did not do. And the bottom line is, just because you don't like what someone says, don't mean that they don't have the right to say it. Everyone can have a political opinion. Now, you can think that they're crazy, and that's fine. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is a lunatic. But you know what? As long as her speech isn't hurting somebody, she can say whatever she wants. But that doesn't mean that she's immune to the blowback that comes with it. Mm-hmm. Period.
Agreed.
And I think that anyone that tries to tell any professional athlete, any human, anybody that's a celebrity, shut up and do what you do best. So do you too. They're a citizen of the United States of America, the same as you are. Just like you can have an opinion, they can have an opinion. And opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got them, and sometimes they stink. So you know what? You can't sit here and put your rights on a silver platter and take a shit on someone else's. You can't.
Yeah.
And if you do, you're a hypocrite. Period. We're a little bit over on this, so let's real quick, J-Law, touch on the if you want to read a little bit more about this story, you can go to vendettasportsmedia.com, go into the NBA section. Garrett Burroughs wrote a pretty informative article on this very, very topic on vendettasportsmedia.com. More quotes than what we've got right on there as well. And, you know, check it out. If you've got a comment that you want to put in there, I'm pretty sure we can leave comments on certain things in the on the page. No, doesn't look like we can. But you know what? It's fine. You can connect with us on Twitter, on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah, comment on the channel.
Yeah, leave comments on the channel. If you have an opinion on this, leave them down there in the comments. But anyway, real quick before we go to our first break, a little bit more drama coming out of the NBA, as the NBA is now investigating bigotry allegations against the Utah Jazz Vice President Dennis Lindsey. Now, you're an NBA guy, Jackson, and we've made jokes about the Utah fan base as a whole with how difficult they can be toward players of color. But this is coming from the front office, Big D Lindsey. And this is coming from former guard Elijah Millsap. He's saying that Lindsey made some bigoted comments toward him at the end of 2015 season. So this is 6 years ago. And it was said, now Millsap says that Lindsey said in his exit interview, quote, "If you say one more word, I'll cut your black ass and send you back to Louisiana," end quote. Lindsey's denied this, Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
So is Elijah Millsap even still in the league, for one?
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I didn't know who this man was.
Damn.
Until the story.
Damn. Elijah.
But so like the key for me to this is that supposedly this was said in front of Quinn Snyder, who's the head coach. So okay. That's the smoking gun for me.
Sure,
you know, once the investigation, commences, and I believe that it has, and the VP has even invited investigators to investigate the matter. Then if that is the case, then I mean that's going to be the nail in the coffin of a yes or a no. Did this actually happen? And it's one of those scenarios where whatever the outcome is, you don't like it either way, because if it is true, then it's then you've got higher ups in the NBA still that are, making comments like that. But then it's on the other side, if it's false, then it's a boy who cried wolf scenario. And then it could potentially lead to other instances being overlooked or not believed because of crying wolf.
Right. And I'll tell you the truth. Why wouldn't you come out and say something sooner than 6 years later?
And he came back and played the next season too.
Yeah, if he's, I mean, now granted, I understand that you're,
Which
if
also,
you're
if it's a job and that's the only place that's like offering you for the NBA, then I
right,
get that too. I get that.
right, yeah. And I was just getting ready to say, this is a guy who, if you've never heard of him, I know I never heard of him. So he probably felt like, look, man, I just got to eat this crap. Otherwise, I ain't got nowhere to be.
Yeah.
And the G League ain't playing like if you're in the NBA. So, I mean, I get it, but it's like, wow. Now, is he waiting 6 years because he's out of the league now and he has nothing to lose? Like that's what I'm curious about. Why wait for so long?
Yeah, because I mean that's something that you would obviously have the support. I mean, you're in a league that is completely dominated by black men. Like you would have all kinds of support, and Adam Silver has been at the forefront, probably the most progressive in the stance of, using the NBA as a platform more than any other league in the nation, for the push for social justice and getting behind the Black Lives Matter movement and everything. So it's like you are in probably the safest space to talk about that stuff, even 6 years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to keep our eyes on this. 12 rounds is definitely going to be keeping her eye on it as well to update us. We'll talk more about this as as more breaks on it. Right now, we're totally up against it. We're like 3 minutes over right now. So we're going to take a quick break here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media. We'll be right back. Hey, you. Yeah, you. In case you hadn't heard, your favorite Renegade Sports Media Group has its own Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media to support our efforts to continuously bring you sports, gaming, and other media coverage as only we can. We've got 4 different membership tiers. For $3 a month, we'll give you a simple thank you on our Patreon site. For $6 a month, you get a thank you and you get to become a recruit in Jackson Law's Vendetta University Gaming Series. For $10 a month, you get everything from the previous tiers, a special thank you at the end of our videos, free access to our upcoming Discord chat, and a free koozie after 4 months. And then the big dog, $50 a month, gets you everything from the previous tiers, as well as opportunities for Fantasy League invites, stream gaming, possible invites to mock NFL and NBA draft sessions, a once-a-month Google Hangout, and after 4 months, a free t-shirt. Yeah! Go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media and help us to improve our pledge to bring you the best sports, gaming, and other media coverage. And we're back here on the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media. So, and if you're, before I get to it, let's just say, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel and click the little bell notification to get some or all notifications of when we're posting content. Podcasts are coming at least 4 per week. You go to our website, vendettasportsmedia.com. You are getting content on the daily. And here's one bit of content that came out today by our own Anthony Fontanello. He wrote a very, very informative article on the NFL best buys and sells on the Symbol NFL market. Yeah, we're still talking a little bit about Symbol. If you want to see exactly what Anthony seems to think, especially his undervalued teams on the NFL side of Symbol, one of my team, my New York Sim Jets, are completely undervalued. That's for sure. But if you want to get in on this Symbol and you want to get some expert analysis on what's going on with Symbol, check out what Anthony Fontanello has to say. And actually, the description, the link is going to be down there in the description. These descriptions are going to be long as a novel at this point, but it's going to be there for you to check out. Just go in there, check it out, vendettasportsmedia.com, and make sure if you really want to help us out, you believe in what we're doing, go to Patreon, patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media. Every little bit helps. All right. With that being said, J Law, NFL free agency is booming right now. A guy who a lot of folks feel is on the decline in his career, but he still demands a high price tag. I'm talking about J.J. Watt. The elder Watt signed just on yesterday, a 2-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals for $31 million. $23 million of that guaranteed. J-Law, good move, bad move? What do you think?
I mean, good job it's bad for Russell Wilson. I'll say that off rip. Is that man, I feel bad for him because he is going to have to face 6 times a year a Watt, Darnold, and a Bosa now.
You mean Donald? It sounded like you said Darnold. But you said Donald.
I meant Donald.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I said Donald.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to have 3 of the best defensive linemen.
So he's not happy. But as for Arizona, yeah, this is great. I think I heard a stat today where they were like 4th in sacks last year. So like already, like you're adding an older past his prime JJ Watt, but he's still going to get after the quarterback. He's still going to work hard. He's still going to cause trouble in the against the offensive line. So
absolutely,
it's now. Do I think they overpaid for him? A little bit, yeah, probably. 21 million guaranteed is a lot of money, but at the same time for JJ, I mean, he didn't go to a contender really, and I think it was probably more for maybe being in the sun. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. This is just one of those weird signings where you're just kind of like, huh.
Interesting. Yeah, because I mean, I still remember on Sunday when we found out about the Symbol partnership. I went in there. The Cardinals did not have much of a high price tag, if I do recall. I think they were like in the mid-20s.
Yeah,
and now their stock is worth $30.
Yeah, it went up, I think, like 8% or something like that. It was crazy, or 8 points, whatever. It was nuts. The way that, like, how people think that it's going to shift. It makes sense from the Cardinals standpoint, I guess, because you can spend draft picks to get weapons and tools to put around Kyler Murray to help get him better. Offensive linemen, maybe a better running back. Maybe you get, another receiver to pair alongside DeAndre Hopkins. And, they drafted Isaiah Simmons last year, is a solid linebacker. I really like him. But so, I mean, you just go out and you spend the money on Watt, thinking that we need a veteran pass rusher who's going to put pressure in a division that's arguably the best division in the NFL, because quarterback-wise, you'll have Russell Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, and now Matthew Stafford.
Right.
And it's a tough division, and the Cardinals are considered the 4th best team in that division. There's only 4 teams per division, so they're considered like they're projected to finish last in that division.
And the thing is, though, even if you finish last in that division,
you're still in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, you look at the what you call it. You look at the NFC East, and that's just a dumpster fire. So, and the NFC West is like the exact opposite. The worst team in that division is probably the best team in another division. So, I seriously think that JJ Watt still has a lot of good quality football in him. I really do. I really like JJ Watt as a player. I love what he brings to the table. I think part of the problem is that he was having to do so much to keep that team afloat that his body just couldn't stand up to it. I'm pretty sure if he gets into another system, different medical staff, maybe different ideas, maybe the dry heat does his body a little bit better. I really think that he's going to do nothing but help this defense.
Yeah, change of scenery and a change of organization. People are kind of turning on the Texans organization. A lot of people are starting to feel like they're holding Watson hostage. Because
Deshaun Watson is getting totally screwed. He's getting totally screwed.
and yeah, and that's another topic for another time, I guess. But you know, it and he was like Watt was lucky enough to get released. So I guess there really wasn't a trade market for him, but he ended up getting paid in the end. And as much as he probably loves Houston, as he said he does, um, you know, I have no faith in that organization whatsoever. And they're dead last on teams that I would pick to rebuild with.
Only way I'd ever rebuild the Houston Texans is if I told the owner, said, look, like I would seriously demand a Bill O'Brien type thing, but I'd be way better at it, to be honest. Well, no, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that, and let's touch on Deshaun Watson. It looks like they are possibly going to be holding him hostage, but in the end, that only helps Deshaun Watson because now he has a year of rest, and now he's the guy that you really want to root for at this point. So yeah. He's gonna have all the cards.
The only thing that the Texans are banking on are safeguards that are in NFL contracts that protect the team. And so basically, if he was to miss the entire year, he would be out like $20 million and would have to give back like a good chunk of his signing bonus, which is cash that he got up front that could possibly already be spent. I don't know. I don't have access to Deshaun Watson's finances, so I can't tell you, what that man is spending.
Why?
Surprisingly not. I know, right?
You are so slacking at your job.
I mean, I'm a terrible analyst, host, writer, blogger.
Why aren't you on this? Why don't you know? You're supposed to get Jackson what he needs. We need Deshaun Watson's financials. We need his medical records. Why doesn't Jackson Law have Deshaun Watson's pee in a cup right there? That's what I want to know. Slacking 12 rounds. You're slacking.
But back to the original point.
Yeah.
Really, that's just what they're banking on, the Texans. They're banking on the fact that Watson is going to want his money and that he will eventually come to play. And I see a lot of these takes that he should play. He signed the contract. They're paying him all this money to play. He needs to play. In any other situation, I could understand that. Like if he's just upset that the team sucks, but he hasn't been that great either, then
that's one
thing. But we're talking about legitimately a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, not even an argument for top 10, but I believe top 5 talent in the NFL at the most important position in football. He gets his huge contract and he signs that contract, one, because it's an unholy amount of money guaranteed to him. Never going to argue and say that him signing it. I'm never going to fault him for that, even though he probably should have seen the trap that was coming up because the Houston Texans are a horribly run franchise. Still, never will blame him. Never will blame anybody.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the problem is that here's what I think. I think Deshaun signs that contract because they tell him, listen, you are our guy. You are our franchise quarterback. And we want your input on everything because you are the face of this franchise.
Yeah, they outright promised him that. Outright promised him that. The owner said, hey, because Deshaun asked, he's like, hey, can I have, say on our GM and our coach? And they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. Outright lied to him.
And as soon as you renege on that, then it's like, well, then you know what? Screw you. Absolutely. I'm totally on his side. And honestly, it's a slippery slope when you look at these players getting their money, because at the end of the day, these guys can't relate to us anymore. They've got money. They can't relate to everyday Joes like us anymore. However, if you sign a contract based on someone's word and they completely break it and tell you, oh, shut up and play the game. No. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
that doesn't work for me.
And there's also Watson's understanding from the franchise, because the only reason why he signs that contract, it's not because of the money, but it's also because Houston is saying, we're going to get better. We're going to put pieces around you. He signs the contract. You know what they do? They trade Deshaun Watson.
You mean?
Or not Deshaun. They trade DeAndre Hopkins is what I meant to say.
A guy who has hands bigger. Not many people have hands bigger than this mitt. All right. DeAndre Hopkins dwarfs my hand.
Yeah. They trade his top number one receiver.
His only weapon on offense.
Yeah, and they whiff on every other draft pick. They're making outlandish trades for Laramie Tunsil, which it doesn't matter how good he's been. Your number 3 pick now belongs to the Miami Dolphins because you traded Laramie Tunsil, and then your 2nd round pick belongs to them too as well because you got Kenny Stills.
Oh man!
And you gave up DeAndre Hopkins for Duke Johnson, who's cut. He's not even on the team anymore, I don't think.
No,
I think he's probably gone.
He was cut yesterday. He was cut on Monday.
Exactly.
I woke up Monday morning to the news that Duke Johnson got cut. I guess he's not going to. I guess he's no longer a GI Joe. Oh, Duke.
But it just and it's like, I don't see how anyone can defend Houston anymore. I see people in the media that are defending Houston and are talking about Watson. And I'm just like, I don't see how you can. How is anybody going to want to come play for this organization when the contract is signed? Yes, you're supposed to play for them, but now it's like we as the organization can do anything to you. We can lie to your face and backtrack it, and there's nothing you can do about it. If I'm a free agent, I'm like, why would I go? Why would I go there? Why would I go play in Houston?
You're not wrong. Well, you want to talk about a not suitable free agency spot. Let's talk about a free agency spot that could be suitable. The New York Jets. The New York Jets are coming into the free agency period of 2021 off of a abysmal 2-14, and they were in that Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes for a bit, but somehow they squeaked out a win or two, and here they are. But they've got $68 million in free cap space, new GM, new head coach, but they've got 19 unrestricted free agents, including Jordan Jenkins and the number 3 all-time leading rusher, Frank Gore, and Joe Flacco. Well, not Flacco. His family changed the name when they came to America. It's just Flacco now. So let me ask you this. Do you think the Jets are going to go from worse to huge free agency spot? Are they going to steal some fire? Because they only have $4 million less in cap space than the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they don't have an Urban Meyer for their coach, but they have a very well-respected defensive-minded coach in Robert Saleh.
Yeah, and I think one thing it could boil down to, and it's got to be stupid things. It's got to be like Colin Cowherd, saying stuff like, the weather and stuff like that. Do you want the Jacksonville weather, the New York market? One of the two things.
Oh my
but
God.
I think honestly, if I'm a free agent, it's just going to depend on what feels more comfortable. And I think both are in good positions to vie for free agents. And it's like, I've probably never seen 2 rebuilding teams in the NFL that are in a good position. Like, they have good things going for them. It's like the Jets, there could be really good players available at all. They almost can't do wrong. I say almost, but the Philadelphia Eagles exist. So that's the proof otherwise that things can go wrong, even if great players are available for you at your draft positions. But I'm saying if the Jets play their cards right, because I still believe in Sam Darnold, I don't think they should take a quarterback at 2. They could go an offensive lineman there. Some people have Kyle Pitts, the tight end, or not Kyle Pitts. Oh, shoot. Is it Kyle Pitts is the quarterback? 1 second. I'm forgetting his name now. Who's the tight end from Florida? Why am I doing this?
I don't know. Round 12 rounds. Who's the tight end from Florida?
Kyle Pitts. No, it is Kyle Pitts. Okay.
It is Kyle
Pitts. Yeah, it is. It is Kyle Pitts. Okay.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, Kyle Pitts. A lot of people have Kyle Pitts going number 2, as that not only is he like a top tight end, but he's like a top receiver and just a top talent in this draft. Maybe they just go strictly receiver. Maybe they go. There's a whole lot of things.
They've got a lot of needs.
The Jets can do.
Yeah, they've got a lot of needs, but they're in a good position in the draft, picking number 2, and they've got plenty of money.
Yeah, and the Jags are in a similar position. They got 11 picks in this upcoming draft. That's an insane number of picks, because if you hit on the vast majority of those picks, you're going to find 4 starters, like 4 good starters in that mix.
It's almost like the Jaguars could become. Do you think the Jaguars might become a reincarnation of the 90s Cowboys? Or do you think they're going to flop? Do you think they're going to blow it? Because let me paint you the picture that I'm seeing. On one hand, you've got the Jaguars, and they've got the sexy coach pick, and they've got $72 million in cap space. They're in Florida, Trevor Lawrence, blah, blah, blah. And then in New York, you've got a way lesser known coach, $68 million. You've already got a first round draft pick as your quarterback right there. Now, when you really look at it, and you brought up a good point, and this is where I'm sort of swimming. These are the waters I'm swimming in. Do you want this Jacksonville weather or the New York market? Okay, Jacksonville, Florida, humid as hell. Humid. Practice is gonna suck. Summer, like the spring and summer practices, are gonna suck.
Yeah, OTAs would be the worst.
Yeah. Now, granted, New York summers aren't all that great either, but they're better than the humidity down in Florida. Yeah, in the wintertime, it gets cold, but you know what? New York's a city that never sleeps, even if it does take weed naps. Jacksonville, I hear they have a spectacular TGI Fridays. Urban Meyer, I still see him as going to be a flop, Jackson Law. I see Urban Meyer flopping heavily. And I don't see the Jacksonville Jaguars recovering from that. I see that within this decade, maybe into the next decade, the Jacksonville Jaguars might be moving. Because I seriously think that if Urban Meyer flops, it's going to destroy this franchise.
Yeah, they're like in the best position possible. The Jags are.
They're in the best position to succeed, but they're also in the best position to fail.
Yeah, and so are the Jets too. The Jets are in the best position to succeed and fail as well. It's just you never know. You never know what's going to happen. We really won't know until next year. Honestly, next season. Well, like you almost can't even count this season, especially for the Jags, because they're going to be bringing in so many rookies, especially a rookie quarterback.
Right. Well, the last thing I'll say on this before we take a break is that the one thing that the Jets have over the Jaguars in that regard, and you can comment on this when we come back, is the Jets at least still have a strong enough foundation within the league, strong enough foundation in their division and in their town that they're not going anywhere. Jacksonville is a small market. Florida is notorious for not being super supportive of its teams. Look at the Tampa Bay Rays, look at the Florida Marlins, and at times look at what the Dolphins went through. But I'll give you a chance to comment on that when we come back from our final break of the hour. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show of Vendetta Sports Media. Make sure you go to vendettasportsmedia.com. And if you want to get into an exciting new bit of sports stock, not sports gambling, but sports stock, fantasy stock, go to symbol.app/Vendetta to get an extra $10 credit on your first deposit with Symbol. We'll be right back for our final segment of the show. I'm Brian Tann. He's Jackson Law. This is the Tanndemonium Sports Show. We'll be right back. The following broadcast is brought to you in association by XP Coffee Company. XP Coffee Company is the fresh brewed coffee made for gamers by gamers. Get amazing flavors like Choco Loco in 8, 12, or 16-ounce bags. Or level up and get Illusion, Isolation, Nightmare, or the Majestic Throne blends in light, medium, or dark roast in whole bean, coarse French press, drip, or fine espresso in 12-ounce, 16-ounce, or 2-pound bags. Wow! Shipping worldwide. If you're in the U.S., go to usa.xpcoffee.co. If you're in Europe or in the U.K., go to www.xpcoffee.co. XP Coffee Company, for gamers, by gamers. All right, we're back here, everybody. We're back here, Tanimals, for the final, not the final for forever. I'm just trying to catch my words. But for the last segment of the Tanndemonium Sports Show here on Vendetta Sports Media.com and on YouTube as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. If you're listening to us wherever you get your podcasts, we thank you for that as well. If you're listening on YouTube, please click the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell icon so you can get notifications. Literally just now as we're recording this episode, Krieg's Corner, yet another show here on the Vendetta Sports Media Network, has posted an interview with Jeff Nadeau, formerly of Barstool Sports. That's a big get. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Hey there, 12 rounds. Make sure you give me a timestamp so I can put a card in. Hey-o. Check us out. Oh, this side.
Yep.
So anyway, J Law, we were talking a little bit about Jets and Jags. What's the better destination? And I gave you, well, no, what it was I gave you why I think the Jets are going to be okay, even if they fail this time around, but the Jaguars won't. So your response on that before we move on to our next story.
My response is, I think you're biased because you own Jet stock on Symbol.
Yes, Simjets. Hashtag Simjets. Well, I mean, come on. The Jets at least have a Super Bowl win. It's from 1969, but it counts.
What
did the Jaguars have? I mean,
they got a pool, like a cool pool that fans could go swim in their stadium.
Point. That's a good point. I mean,
yeah,
Super Bowl win 50 years ago, a pool. Either way, they both still
have
about
the now, Brian. It's about the now. It's not about 50, 60 years ago. It's the now.
Well, that's what us Steeler fans shout at Cleveland Browns fans when they say, we've won multiple NFL championships. They're not Super Bowls. Oh, gotcha, Cleveland. All right, so let's talk about your favorite one-legged quarterback. Alex Smith, the 37-year-old bionic man whose leg almost literally fell off of his body. Like Najinko, like Najinko from the episode of The Simpsons. His leg fell off and he almost died to death. To death, Jackson Law.
To death.
He almost died to death. He has a $24 million cap hit. So the Washington football team decided, not to his leg, but to his contract, to save them almost $14 million. So let me ask you this. Do you pick up Alex Smith? Who picks up Alex Smith, and about how much do you think he's going to command? 37 years old, a leg that's being held together by super glue, chicken wire, and hopes and dreams. Do you pick him up? Who picks him up? And how much do you think he's getting?
He's not getting a whole lot, I wouldn't imagine. Like you said, his age, and even though he looked pretty decent coming off his injury, I mean, there still is that injury history. If he gets picked up at all, even if he still wants to play football, which I'd imagine he still does. As to who picks him up, I have no idea, because I would imagine it would be in a backup role or for a team that will transition to a new quarterback in the future. So and if he does get signed, I wouldn't imagine it would be before the draft. I would imagine it would be after the draft, because then if a team like, I don't know, I don't even know, like the Bears maybe,
I was
because they don't
just
know,
thinking the Bears.
because they're thinking about running out Nick Foles to start out the year over Mitch Trubisky if they can't move Trubisky, or they may just let him go. I can't remember if this is his 5th-year option year or not.
I believe it is.
But but it's like right now it sounds like that they may use him, or they may use Foles. So maybe you bring in Alex Smith just in case if Foles isn't working out, or if Foles gets hurt, and so you have a backup. I could imagine maybe even a team like the Giants, because their QB Daniel Jones has been hurt. I mean, he doesn't have like an injury history, but he was hurt at one point last season, and the team suffered from it. Already down Saquon, down a bunch of other injuries. But I just don't see him as anywhere else than a backup. Maybe even like a return to San Francisco, maybe to back up Jimmy G. Well, it just all depends on how the dust is settled after the draft.
Well, Chicago has reached a decision. They are going to decline Trubisky's 5th-year option for this upcoming season.
Mm-hmm.
So Trubisky's gone.
No.
He gone.
So
you either keep Nick Foles, or you bring in an aging Alex Smith, and you draft yourself a quarterback.
Yeah, or even I could even see someone like Jacksonville bringing him in to mentor Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, you don't think Gardner Minshew is a good enough mentor for Trevor Lawrence?
Well, who would I rather have as my backup? The Gardner Minshew, the prototypical frat boy from the South that listens to Bruce Springsteen and like just is shotgunning beers in the off season, or the guy that basically trained Patrick Mahomes, who's an MVP and a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like,
good point by you. I mean, I don't know, man. You know who Gardner Minshew reminds me of? Did you watch the Lethal Weapon TV series?
No, I did not.
Man, he looks just like Riggs from. Let me see if I can find it. Oh man, let me see if I can find it, because that's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Clayne Crawford, the guy that played Martin Riggs. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can find a good enough image of him that shows you. Here we go. Let me pull this up here. If it'll let me. Come on now. Because when you see this guy, you'll see what I mean when I say that's not what I wanted. What the hell? This is like pissing me off. No, it's not. You know what? Here, this is what I'll do. Hold on. And that's kind of. Here he is. Does that not look like that is Gardner Minshew?
Yeah.
That is Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
Right there.
He definitely, like Gardner Minshew, he looks like a man that walks into the weight room naked and just starts lifting weights in front of all of his teammates.
That is so funny. That is too funny. Well, the thing now, so here's my thing though. Now, I'm on your side 100% as far as the thoughts about Alex Smith. I mean, do I think he's going to want to come back? I mean, honestly, if I'm him, I feel like I've already come back. I've shown that I can do it. Now it's just pride. And I feel like if he could still zip the ball down the field, man, you got to give him a lot of credit on that. So I think he might try to come back to try to win, a Super Bowl maybe. I honestly, if I'm him, I would probably look to I'm trying to think of a team that could probably use him as a backup. Like, but the Colts won't bring him in because they still have Jacoby Brissett, who will be a very, very good backup to Carson Wentz. Um,
Yeah.
I'd probably say maybe the Jets because Flacco has the back issues, which will affect his throwing and his ability. But you know, I think that maybe if I'm the Jets and I let Flacco walk, I'd probably bring in Alex Smith to mentor Sam Darnold.
Yeah, that would be a good option. And like again, I'm looking at the teams right now, just kind of gauging the NFL. Maybe the Eagles, if they need someone to
To mentor
really train up
Jalen
Jalen
Hurts.
Hurts. Yeah. 49ers, again, Garoppolo has missed a significant amount of time throughout his career in games that he could have played. The Lions, maybe, if they're not too sold on Jared Goff and they need a transition quarterback for another crappy year so that way they can pick up a QB in the draft or just somewhere in the future. And like you said, the Jets, maybe the Broncos, if they're not completely sold on Andrew or on Drew Lock. There's quite a few options that he can go to. Maybe even the Texans. If they get rid of Deshaun.
I don't go, man.
Yeah, nobody going there. Nobody going there. No.
You know what? If this were Blitz the league, the Texans would be at the bottom of the Division 3. you played Blitz the league, right?
Yeah, I played Blitz the league.
Yeah, they would be at the bottom of Division 3. Okay.
Yeah, it's rough.
Quentin Nightmare Sands is knocking them out of the league. Okay. Oh God. Like, I'm serious. Like, the Texans could get Lawrence Taylor in his prime back, and they're still going to be the joke of the NFL. Oh God. I mean, and I seriously, but you know what? I really hope that Alex Smith does get another gig. I hope he gets the chance. I really do. Matter of fact, I would like to see Alex Smith maybe if he did go to the Bears. Maybe the Bears get a stud offense, and I will always preach this: get yourself a stud offensive lineman in the early rounds of the draft, especially if you're going to have an aging quarterback, because it only takes one or two good offensive linemen to really help shore up that line.
Mm-hmm.
If you have two guys that are working their ass off, those other three guys are going to pick up that slack. You know what I mean? I mean, granted, you want all of your guys on your offensive line to be studs, but if you have two guys at minimum that are really working their asses off, it's going to push those other guys. And then you get him a couple of serviceable weapons, maybe a superstar, and he could do something for that team. He really could. All right, so our final story, and we kind of joked about this off air, but I do want to sort of give a shout out to the D Train himself, Dontrell Willis, the former ace of the Miami Marlins. Sorry.
Well, they used to be the Florida Marlins.
Yeah, they used to be way back when. He's been hired by the LA Dodgers as a special emphasis as a special assistant with an emphasis on player development. 05, he was the man. 22 wins, 2.63 ERA, 72-69 win-loss record, 4.17 ERA. I mean, he was a good player. It was just injuries hurt him, and he gassed out. He threw nothing but gas, and it was just too much. What do you think of Dontrell Willis coming back to the major leagues, developing some young talent with the Dodgers organization?
I mean, yeah, kudos for him. Like you said, he's a name that growing up, you always heard of Dontrell Willis, especially, after, 2005, you really thought that he was just going to, propel and be a generational talent, and injuries and everything just, got ahead of him as it happens to so many promising baseball players, but he's returning to the sport, and he's got a job with a World Series winning organization that already has one of the greatest pitchers in Clayton Kershaw, just to kind of help shore him up. Yeah, sure. I'm happy for him.
You picking up MLB The Show on Xbox One?
I really want to, but I still may hold off until I get a next-gen console.
I mean, I hear you. That kind of makes sense.
Because my Xbox that I have, it's like the first set of Xboxes that were released. Like, it's just the giant black box. It's not even like the slimmer one before like the series, like the Xbox like S or XS, whatever all the other freaking numbers that I'm forgetting.
1X.
Yeah, 1X. Yeah, and
I
1S.
hear you. Like I'm not sure when I'm gonna be getting a Series X because you still can't get them. You still gotta like sell your kid's kidney. By the way, I'm gonna be coming to visit you in a couple of days. But you still can't get them, so I don't know when I'm gonna pick one up. So I figure even if I get it for my 1X, I mean I'll still be able to play it on the Series X. So
yeah,
I mean it is what it is. I mean I'll probably get it just because I don't know how much longer. I probably won't be until next year I can get a Series X. Who knows? So.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I know I'm probably gonna pick it up. I know I'm definitely picking up Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting that. And that's coming out like 3 days after my birthday. So I'm especially getting it. It really is. I can't wait. I'm not even looking at like trailers or anything. I don't want to know what it looks like. I just want to be shocked by how awesome it is. So, all right, that's it, guys. Make sure take advantage of our partnership with Symbol. If you're into stock trading and you're into fantasy sports, Symbol is the app for you. Go to symbol.app/Vendetta and get an extra $10 on your $10 added to your first deposit with Symbol. I bought a share in the New York Jets, the Sim Jets. $18, not too shabby. And I'm sure as they have a good offseason and good draft, that value will go up nothing but up. And it'll be awesome. Make sure you also check out XP Coffee Company. The coffee made for gamers by gamers. Jackson Law orders it whenever, and he's drinking it while he's playing. He's doing his live streams and his videos of the various games he's playing. The NFL head coach, which is the head of contention between Jackson and Trey, because Trey is not happy with the moves that Jackson Law makes. And sometimes I want to tell Trey, well, why don't you do your own game then? And I think he did for a few minutes. He did for a minute.
He's trying to get it all figured out. I'm tempted not to tell him.
But definitely check it out. Make sure you go to patreon.com/Vendetta Sports Media. Support us in our endeavors to bring you the best content possible in sports, gaming, and all other forms of entertainment. And please make sure you go to our YouTube channel and check out Krieg's Corner with this exclusive interview. Well, not so much exclusive. I'm sure the man's done a lot of press, but it's his interview with Jeff Nadeau, formerly of Barstool Sports, and I'm probably butchering the man's name. But go there, check it out. YouTube.com. Vendetta Sports Media is our channel. I'm Brian Tann. He's Jackson Law. Bridget 12 Rounds is in the control room. We'll see you next week with all more of our fourth cut rate crap show. Take care, guys.